Cold gray winter weather was an appropriate backdrop for the events of that day. I was seated in the back seat of a hearse next to a tiny styrofoam coffin that contained a stillborn infant, the firstborn child of a young couple. The young parents, along with friends and family, had gathered at the cemetery to bury this child who had never known life. It was an absolutely heartbreaking scene. The frail, heartbroken mother was seated on a folding chair before an open grave, her grieving husband standing beside her, offering comfort amidst his own pain and loss. Few scenes seem so devoid of hope as this one. That sad day has long since receded in my memory, but would be followed by a myriad of other tragedies in ensuing years. An early morning phone call conveying the news of the death of a 21-year-old woman in a car accident, an event that left her family numb with grief and shock. The image of her older sister meticulously combing her dead sister's hair as she lay in the coffin during visitation displayed the deep, raw grief that had only begun to settle in. There were the courageous men and women by whose bedsides I sat, slowly being robbed of energy and life by ravaging cancer. There was the young wife and mother, killed in an instant by a wrong-way driver on a freeway. The girls from the softball team she coached sat in uniform on the front row during the funeral service, proper and polite, but obviously grief-stricken. Conversations with her inconsolable husband would follow in the ensuing weeks. Perhaps no tragedy so deeply affected me as the tragic drowning of two young girls. It was December, near the Christmas holiday. A frantic call came from the girls' grandmother. The two sisters and their brother were playing on an ice-covered pond, something that had been strictly forbidden by their parents. The children were only briefly away from their mother's attention, but it was long enough for tragedy to unfold. The details may never be fully known, but apparently one child fell through the ice and the other two attempted a rescue. All three were found unconscious beneath the broken ice. They were airlifted to a local hospital and then on to a larger city hospital. Miraculously, the boy ultimately survived, but his two sisters died shortly after arriving at the hospital. The images of those two girls lying side by side in their coffin would be forever etched in my mind. Few things have been more difficult than preaching a funeral message to a family and townspeople who desperately sought to make sense of a seemingly senseless tragedy. Beyond these tragedies of death have been other seemingly hopeless calamities. Heartbroken spouses left to pick up the pieces in the wake of an affair or desertion. Abrupt job losses and business failures that shattered serene and stable lives. Sudden health crises resulting in extreme financial and emotional hardship. Some people succumb to gloomy hopelessness amidst the fiercest storms of life, while others found firm anchor for their souls through hope. Read more about real hope in my book, Hope for Uncertain Times.